It was just coming fresh off the festive ride program, and as you and I discussed before, we had some increase in numbers with impaireds, with obviously a lots of officer presence during that time. And this past 2 weekends, we've had multiple arrests for impaireds, almost 10 different arrests within a weekend period of 2 weekends, kind of meshed together. So for some reason, people are still continuing to make the choice to drive impaired, which the challenging part is the ripple effect of what that can cause with traffic collisions. You impact people's lives with injuries or possible deaths, and it's just not acceptable. So from a policing service, the District of Muskoka is obviously one that we cherish and take great pride in being the police service for. We are very proactive with ride programs and officer presence in our communities. Not only that, but we've enhanced our motorized snow vehicle program this winter. We are on the trails every single weekend. Obviously, we're not going to discuss where we're going to be because that would obviously give up where we're going to be. But at the end of the day, ride programs and the enforcement on trails will be something we're still continuing to focus and we'll focus on to the end of the winter season. Rides will continue throughout the year, and that's one of the obligations that officers will be mandated to do is that ride program, and they take great pride in it because we can have the ability to have impaired drivers off the roadways, which is indicative of the amount of arrests that we've had in the past 2 weekends for people driving impaired.
How does this I guess compare to previous years in these stats, Wade? Is this, I guess my question is it normal to see this carryover from what we can see in the holiday celebrations?
No, this is a spike. I can't put a percentage on it because I haven't actually crunched the percentage of data, but we are up. And I think there's twofold. I think people continue to do it, but obviously officers are proactive with it. So I would say we're catching more people. It's just that it impacts lives in a way that maybe people don't realize. The impacts of a collision for personal injury to yourself or to the public, you're taking that risk. And we will hold you accountable to every letter of the law that we can in regards to impaired driving because it's not acceptable in today's day and age.
You brought it up, but I want to touch down on it a little bit. Is it a chicken and egg scenario? Is it that there are more officers present on the roads and more ride programs, or is it that there are more people choosing to drive impaired?
That is a challenging question, and we've had this conversation before about kind of where that lies. And I would like to say impaired drivers are being caught more for, I guess, lack of terminology, but officers are out more, so we are catching more people. Does that mean more people are driving impaired? I really couldn't answer that question. I would say it's probably still continuing to happen. We're just catching more because of our proactiveness.
What are you hearing at the barracks here, Wade? Because this has got to be exhausting for officers to continually hit this roadblock over and over again when they're obviously trying to get this messaging out. You're trying to get this messaging out. People aren't listening. I'm sure that's exhausting.
Yeah, but you know what? The officers know they have a job to do, and their job is public safety, and they take great pride in it. And we have a lot of very active, proactive, and very, I would say, community-oriented officers in this detachment. We have a great detachment who take great pride in that, and we will continue to do that to make sure our roads are safe.
But for you personally too, I'm sure this is just ultimately the most frustrating thing to see people making this choice over and over again.
It is frustrating, absolutely. And as a detachment commander, when I see reports of the impaired driving stats and then the media releases that are being brought out in regards to people being arrested for impairs, I honestly have a hard time wrapping my head around why people continue to do it. You have lots of options to get home safely. You have organizations like Mad Canada who are very aggressive in their campaigning and trying to reduce impaired driving because of the impacts it has on people. But yet people continue to do it. So we will continue to be steadfast on the roadways and arrest people for impaired driving offenses.
Again, touch down on it, but let's come back around to what are you doing? What's the detachment doing to keep up with this? Does that mean we're going to see even more ride programs out and about, more officers on the road keeping an eye out for this type of behavior, strategic timing, that type of thing?
So strategic timing, I wouldn't say strategic timing because I'm not going to give up kind of the times of the day that you may see more presence on the roadway, but you will see officers present on the roadway. And that doesn't mean just at nighttime because the bars are closing. It could be any time during the day, depending on what we see. So don't be surprised if you stop at a ride program, even during the daytime. And those ride programs, I understand that officers have a legal legislative ability now to do mandatory alcohol screening. So if they ask you at roadside to blow into a roadside screening device, it's because they have the belief you may have alcohol. They're legally allowed to do so. So be prepared. You may be doing a mass program.
I want to comment quickly on a strategy I've seen that I thought was very interesting. Not your detachment, it's in Huntsville, but I know that you and JP tend to share ideas. And it was right downtown. You know, it was the most awkward place possible that, you know, it was clear the officer had chosen this area because it made it impossible for them to be seen until it was the last minute, so people couldn't turn around. But it just showed me that there are sort of outside the box ways of thinking in terms of trying to catch impaired drivers.
Yeah, absolutely there are. We, as your this part and within Bracebridge, obviously we have a lot of responsibility in the rural areas as well, the side streets that people may take to try and get home because to avoid ride programs, we're going to be in the side streets too. So just be prepared for that.